I'll tell you who's not going to come near the Final Four, the national championship of that bracket, is our buddy Tom Murphy. Tom, appreciate your time as always, buddy. Thursday edition of the Morning Rush Recruiting Thursday. We're talking a little bit early, and we're gonna come back to it with you. Mike Farrell of Rivals was discussing quarterback development within the SEC, and I think there's a lot of people that have confidence in Kendal Briles to develop KJ Jefferson and Malik Hornsby, especially with the full offseason. Where are you at right now with what the offense is going to look like? How much do you think KJ and Malik are going to develop in this offseason heading into 2021?
Yeah, great question, Ty, and I'm fully prepared to answer that question. But I have to say, the $1 million bracket, Tommy, hey, do people have to fill out the first four on that? Because there's some first four games tonight.
No.
That's not part of it.
Not part of it.
Okay. All right.
You got till tomorrow.
Hey, yeah, you got to pick the first four for some other stuff, too, so I got to remind myself to pick those things. Look, one of my favorite things that Sam Pittman said in the pre-spring video conference we had with him, I asked a question about how Kendal Briles' offense might change, now that Felipe is not the main starter. And the response was this. I looked at his video, before I hired Kendal Briles, and we think that KJ and Malik Hornsby are the prototypical type of guys to fit in what he ran before. And Kendall really had to tweak what he did to suit the Felipe Franks style of offense. And that Felipe, what did he call him? He was a surprising runner.
Yeah.
And so, that's heartening that how Kendal Briles feels about modern offenses. You've got two quarterbacks on campus that can run those, where the quarterback is a threat on every play, where there's these options. They can hand to the tailback, they can run, they can drop back and pass. It's almost like the old triple option, but in a modern style, So I think it bodes well. I mean, they obviously have to be a better blocking team, and the quarterback and receivers have to be on the same page. But the very small taste we got of KJ in that start at Missouri, not the greatest defense in the SEC, was productive, and he showed good timing on the deep ball. He hit Traylon Burks, and I think they have a lot of room to grow, and it's going to be fun to watch them develop.
Tom, you used the term willing runner, and we've used that a lot. I've been using the term threatening runner. It's great to be willing. You need to be threatening when you do it as well. And that's the other element to this that remains to be seen is you can take off and run with the ball, but are you a threat for first downs and touchdowns? That's what you also got to have out of your quarterback.
You do. And, Felipe, he converted a few last year, and he was a funky kind of runner with the forward diving and
surprisingly fast with those long legs. Little Matt Jones mixed in there. I'm not suggesting he was Matt, but faster than you would think to the eye, and then you see his 40 time in the pro day, but didn't always put that speed on full display in the open field.
No, he didn't. He held on to the ball a little bit too long, and I think he felt like his biggest priority was to not turn the ball over. And so he did not throw into coverage sometimes. He held on to the ball some. They had 34 sacks as a result, and then he had a few weird scrambles. Didn't cut real fast, but he converted some of them. And the one I remember, though, the LSU game, right when it started raining, they got down, and it was on the 4-yard line. It started pouring down raining. And he didn't hand off, and he kept it, and he slipped. And that play just haunts me a little bit because if you push that touchdown against LSU in there, maybe you win the game. All right, that's all old history. I think KJ and Malik Hornsby are going to be a lot more dangerous runners. I think just faster, quicker to all right, this read's not here, I go. Mm-hmm. And Felipe didn't do that as much, and I just think that it's going to make Arkansas a more dangerous offense. They've got to find a way to work the ball into the hands of those guys, and then, your Burkses, your Woods, you got to get Trey Knox back going. You got to hit the ball to your tight end. You got to get Traylon Smith. There's plenty of dangerous options for this Arkansas offense now.
We're talking with Tom Murphy on the Morning Rush. Tom, Big news coming out of Indianapolis. A lot of high-profile players tweeting out the hashtag not NCAA property last night. I think it's a combination of the accommodations. It's the combination of them wanting to own their name and likeness and stuff like that. What did you make of all this happening right prior to the NCAA tournament beginning on Friday?
Yeah, just flexing their power a little bit. And the truth is, NIL is coming, and I think COVID threw it off a little bit, or it might already actually be here. So they're going to have to be a little patient. What they don't understand is the collective. Look, I understand each of those guys, their own name, image, and likeness is meaningful. Mm-hmm. And I get the part about how if you're a golfer and you do something on the side, you can make some kind of profit, and it will come to the basketball and the football. But I don't know how they regulate that is going to be something to see, and they've got to be a little bit careful about not overplaying their hand is what I would say.
Well, Tom, I'll give you an example. I just thought of this on the spot, so maybe it's a bad one. So you're worth a heck of a lot more to the ADG and Whole Hog Sports than y'all's copy boy or y'all's mail run boy. But in the NCAA equation, everyone's treated the exact same. The Trevor Lawrences, the Cade Cunninghams, they're treated on the exact same level as the 12th man on Colgate. And so there's balance there, but then I also get frustrated seeing guys like Trevor and Cade that could be really branding themselves better than they are, and they're just not able to. So I think it's a push-pull type. Is there truly like one solid answer, solid conclusion that you've come to in all this, or are you still trying to like unpack what the NCAA and what you think about this whole thing?
Well, there's so many entities involved here,
yeah.
And we're talking about the federal government because we've had some federal legislation that they've tried to pass to do this. You've got NCAA, you've got campus stuff. I've had lengthy conversations with John Fagg at the U of A, who's been their compliance guy. And he thinks that there's going to be all this, hoo-ha about, this team's got an edge, that team's got an edge. How are they going to use it? But he says after a short while, he thinks it will settle down because it's happened. It's going to happen. And that he thinks some female golfer or a gymnast or something has just as much, earning power or, marketability for different products as, the star quarterback or receiver. Now, we'll see how that plays out. But I just worry about the schools that, Arkansas is getting ahead of this. I mean, they're going to hire an AD for name, image, and likeness and some other stuff. And so you help them. But I just fear that some schools will use that okay, if you sign with us, if you commit here, sign here, you'll have a guaranteed, $500,000 contract before your junior year. Just something along those lines. Mm-hmm. And that's where you get into the murky lines. Do you have people lined up to have those players endorse your products? And it's another step toward being professional as an amateur. I always thought they should be able to earn some money off there. I thought, for instance, Darren McFadden is in school at Arkansas for 3 years. My thought was every number 5 jersey that's sold during those 3 years, he should have gotten just a percentage of the sales of those jerseys. Mm-hmm. There's a way to track it. You write them out. You're here 2 years as a starter. Every number 15 jersey, with mallet on the back or however you do that, small percentage. Yeah. And maybe something like that comes to fruition. But it is going to create an atmosphere where how they regulate that is going to be really strange.
See, I'm of the belief, just kind of being in the marketing business, and this is what I do every day. There's not going to be a lot of big time companies, local or national, turn over their spokesmanship role or the role in their TV commercials to a college athlete. But where I think right. I just don't think they're going to put that in the hands of someone in their teenage or early 20 years. That's a lot of trust to represent your company that probably is not going to pass the board of directors at a lot of places. But where I do see these guys being able to really benefit themselves, how many times could Darren McFadden have set up, or Felix Jones or Ryan Mallett or Tyler Wilson, or just keep going down the list, and signed autographs on a Sunday on their day off at a business and done an appearance, and hey, for 2 hours, Darren McFadden was signing autographs at the peak of his height in Arkansas. Would that be worth $1,500, $2,500, $5,000? That number will be determined, but I think that's where a lot of these athletes will have the opportunity to put some money in their pocket while they're college athletes is doing these appearances and signing autographs and being on site in people's businesses to attract a crowd.
Yeah, you know what? That's a great point, Tommy. I'm sorry I didn't mention that earlier. I talked to John Sag about that as well, and I think his frustration grew from when Johnny Manziel was at Texas A&M. They got in some kind of trouble for him making some profits off his autograph, and that one to me is so clear cut. If people are willing to pay to have your autograph, that's you, and that one I wholeheartedly agree with. If you can be marketable with your name, your signing stuff, that belongs to you. Yeah. And so I think it's coming.
And if a bank wants to hire somebody that's a student athlete to do their TV commercial, more power to them. I just don't think there's going to be a lot of established businesses that go that route with their marketing. I may be wrong, but I don't think a lot of bigger, more established businesses will take that risk. Because let's just be honest, putting your reputation in partnership, in a relationship with a student athlete, carries certain risks, Tom, for the business.
It does, and I'm sure there's going to be a good number of minor deals that aren't, head scratchers and all,
right.
Not $1 million deal, but
right.
Y'all, Bama recruits a ton of 5-star talent, and I think it could be something that would give them yet another edge in having guys on their campus, that they have people that could line up and do that. I don't know how it's going to be regulated. It's beyond me how you try to put all the rules and regulations in, but they will be tested.
Tom, before we let you go, it's National Sloppy Joe Day. Are you like or hate Sloppy Joes?
I've eaten them before. I haven't had one in a long time. I can't see myself celebrating. I like to play along. If it's National Beer Day, then I'll have a beer. And you guys are really good at notifying me when it's National Pizza Day and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to know that it's Sloppy Joe Day. And my wife loves it, so I might end up having a Sloppy Joe today.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hey, by the way, who's in your Final Four? Have you done your bracket yet?
I have not, Tommy, and I thank you for the reminder. I got to get on that.
Yeah,
I do too. I don't. So none of us have done it.
We can all agree, though, a good Sloppy Joe has to be eaten with a fork. If it's done right.
Oh yeah. Okay. Fork, and you got to sop up some of it too. With some
you can get the first bite with picking it with your hands and picking it up. Beyond that, if it's not a fork, then you just hadn't done it right.
Everybody have their Sloppy Joes today, baby.
All right.
See you, Tom.
Enjoy March Madness.
Later,
We'll talk
guys.
Monday.